person where I'm drinking a keeper moving beer, which is the catchphrase of a comedian up here named Charlie Barons, who does this shtick.
He's so funny.
Yeah, he's good, right? You would appreciate him with your superior background, Brad. Every week, joining me as always, Marnie Glickman. Marnie, what's your drink of choice up there today?
Well, today I'm still in Portland, Oregon, and I'm drinking an Oregon Pinot Noir because it's Oregon Pinot Noir Week.
Oh, that's the best kind to have. Is it a Willamette Valley Pinot Noir?
Probably.
Joining us from the greater Phoenix area, right? Phoenix or Tucson, Brad? I forgot. Tucson is former Hopkins High School art teacher, Brad Nuorola. Brad, what's your drink? What's your cocktail there? It's cocktail.
Well, my cocktail is a bourbon Manhattan.
Oh, fantastic. That's great.
Yeah.
And we're delighted to be joined tonight by a member of Robbinsdale Armstrong's class of '88 and Brad's daughter, Carrie. Do you say, is it Schricker, Carrie?
Correct. Carrie Schricker. Yep.
Carrie Schricker. And you're in Minnetonka as well.
Yes. Cheers to all you Royal 88ers. Cheers to you.
Cheers.
Cheers. 88, 88, 80, 88, 88.
88.
So Brad, you were on a couple weeks ago, but one of the things we ask people every week on the show is there a teacher that you still think about that's stuck with you for some reason, was inspirational? And your name has come up quite a few times. Mm-hmm. And I just want to ask, as you've gotten some distance from your teaching career, how does it feel that people still remember you and still, recall the lessons that you were teaching there at Hopkins?
It's just unbelievable. I just heard from a student today. Somebody from Hopkins posted the video stores. Remember the video stores? What was it called?
Blockbuster.
Blockbuster. Yeah. Yes. And I said, oh yes. I got on and I answered, oh, every Friday night we'd go to Blockbuster to get a Friday night movie. Mm-hmm. And this woman came on and she said, oh, I saw your name. So I just had to tell you something about the art class. And then you always told us how to say your name. It was Nuo-Ro-La, Nuo-Ro-La. It was a cheer. Yeah. And so that just happened today. Yes. I hear from students. I mean, social media is so great to be able to connect with former students, and it's just wonderful. Absolutely.
How did you become an art teacher? Did you always want to go into education, and what was your path?
Well, I wasn't very good in science. I didn't care for history too much. I flunked math, and I always got an A in art. So what does that give me? Well,
seems
everybody,
obvious,
you know, Jason, everybody has their strength. And I always told students, what you have to do is find out what you really like to do and then pursue that. So you're a skateboarder, okay, or a snowboarder, but you don't think you can make it as a professional. Well, maybe you could go on and design skateboards, or you like to work outdoors. Maybe you could be a forest ranger. You love numbers. Well, maybe you should be an accountant. Find out what it is you really like to do. Well, I was very lucky at a very young age that I found that art was a place that I belonged. And I wasn't a great student. I had fun in high school. I didn't study a lot in high school. I just had a good time. Went to college right in Superior State University. And I majored in art and art education. And so I going with my present wife at that time. We were high school sweethearts, and she said, "Well, you know, art. What are you going to do with art?" Well, I said, "I'm going to teach art," and so I got my education degree from Superior, and then I taught art in Madison, Wisconsin, and then I went to graduate school in Mad City, and I majored in studio art, painting with a sculpture minor. And I taught for 37 years and I loved it. There was not a day that I woke up and said, "Oh my God, I got to go to work today." I loved teaching. I loved haranguing students, challenging them, having fun with them. I'm so blessed to have had that career. And like I say, I continue to hear from students today. It's just marvelous. Yeah.
So what years were you in Madison?
I was in Madison from 1964 to 69.
Well,
Wow.
a lot was going on in Madison at that time.
Well, that was the Vietnam era.
Yeah.
And there was the bombing in Wisconsin.
Sterling
And-
Hall, yeah.
Yeah. And I was teaching at the new high school there, Madison Memorial High School.
Yep.
You know, and I love Madison. I never wanted to leave Madison. Actually, at that time, the new high school was a junior senior high school at the time. And I was in the junior high, and I thought, if I'm going to have a career in art education, I need to have the challenge of older students. I mean, God bless these teachers that can take on these middle school kids, because, you know, they're going wild, you know, hormones are going crazy, and their attention span is zippo. And I thought, well, you know, I need to go to high school. I wanted to get into high school. And there was an opportunity for me in Madison, and a job opened up in Minnesota. And I went to Golden Valley High School. I don't know if you remember Golden Valley.
Yes, I'm from
Yes.
Golden Valley.
Are you a Golden Valley grad,
Mhm.
Marnie?
Well, I'm Hopkins High, but I went to Meadowbrook.
Oh, Meadowbrook Junior or elementary school.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I moved in '69 to Minnesota, to Golden Valley. Of course, we merged then with Hopkins, and I went to Eisenhower to begin with, and then Eisenhower merged with Hopkins High School, and then I went into the Hopkins art department. Yeah. Yeah.
When you think about teaching art to kids, we had this discussion with Mel. You know, kids come into the art department with when you take a math class, you go into the math class and there's a curriculum and you learn the math or you don't learn the math. But with art, it seems like, boy, the options are everywhere. What approach does an art teacher take starting on day one of, you know, or you're teaching drawing or painting? What are you just trying to get kids to do? How are you trying to herd them?
Well, I'm trying to get them to think and to to reflect and to understand. My basic philosophy was, most of the kids that come to me are not going to go on into art. A number of kids that were in my class didn't care to be there. Maybe the guidance counselor put them in there, or they couldn't read, so they came to art. Some kids came to art because their friend was in art. They thought it was an easy class. Along with that, I had great kids that were motivated, that wanted art. And so my overall approach was, what is it that these kids really need from me for one semester of art? So my approach was, how do you understand art? And when I say understand art, I'm talking about art of the 20th century,
Okay.
modern art. What is all that about? How do you understand it? So art appreciation was a big part of what I was doing. If you were taking drawing, painting, jewelry class, whatever, we looked at a lot of slides. We saw a lot of different styles of art. And along with learning basics, it was hopefully trying to understand and appreciate art, because most people are going to go on in life, and hopefully they'll have some understanding when they get out and what they might choose for their house or whatever, or go to a museum and understand a little bit about art. So that was a big part of my curriculum. I challenged kids a lot. I mean, my class was not easy. Everybody got an A when they signed up for my class. Everybody got an A, because a lot of kids were afraid to take art because they were concerned about their grade point average, you know. And I said, well, you have an A, now you just have to keep it. And you come to class regular and you try to learn, you're really showing that you're trying to learn, and you'll keep your A, even if you haven't developed the skills, but you're showing interest in trying to learn. And that was my basic philosophy. Get kids interested, trying to learn, and working hard at learning.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Brad, I heard you mention jewelry class. Was there a jewelry class that you taught?
Oh yeah, I taught jewelry. Yeah, I taught jewelry in Hopkins High School. Yes, and the kids would come. Kids would come in there and they'd have a little smoke in the jewelry class, because we had an event, and they would have their little bit of smoke there, but in the jewelry class. When I was at my desk eating lunch. Yeah.
That's great. Minneapolis is a great city for art appreciation. It strikes me, as I've been around, when you get older, you travel around and, you go to other big cities and you think, boy, the Walker and the Art Institute, really, some incredible stuff that you can see right in your own backyard. Did you ever lead field trips? Did you take kids to museums and walk through the Walker
Absolutely.
exhibits?
Absolutely, I did. Yeah, we not only went to the Walker and Minneapolis Art Institute, excuse me, we'd also go to private galleries. I would take kids to the galleries and show them the gallery scene, and this is where art is for sale, and they learn about that. And yeah, we had a lot of field trips. I did a lot of that. Mm-hmm.
Carrie,
good question.
Carrie, you're not going to escape this interview process here. What was it like growing up with a dad who was an art teacher? Was art a huge part of your life? Or did he sort of leave you alone in that area?
Very good question. Very good question.
Art was a huge part of our life. Unfortunately, I don't have the talent of my father. I'm not artistic at all. But however, he taught me how to appreciate art, and my house is an art gallery. Thanks a lot to my dad. I do appreciate art, but I do remember basically every Sunday after church, we'd have to go to the Walker Art Center. And every now and then we got to eat and have like a special breakfast at the Walker Art Center, which was a big deal. But yeah, he exposed us to a lot, always, had us an open door to his studio if we wanted to go down there and mess around. Our dog did run across some of his artwork and leave painted footprints on the carpet. They were too happy about that. But yeah, always very exposed to it. I appreciate art. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. But yeah.
Carrie,
fantastic.
Carrie,
yeah.
Carrie, how about coming to Golden Valley High School on Saturday morning?
Loved going in the art room where my dad worked at Golden Valley High School. Yes, and
I would work on my paintings, and you girls would be working on stuff. Remember that? Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
I always exposed. Always, allowed us to do what we wanted. He wouldn't critique us to say whether we were right or wrong, or good or bad, or just keep enjoying. Yeah,
but on the other hand, flip side, well, we traveled a lot during the summer. We camped. We went all over a lot of places in the United States, and it got to be, oh, Dad, we have to go to another museum. Yes, that's the truth.
That is a true story. Yes. I have gone to a lot of art museums, but you look back and now that's the reason I appreciate art. And I appreciate art so much. When I was in college, I had to have my dad's art in my dorm room. And then when I
Oh.
moved off campus in my house, because walls just didn't seem the same without artwork. So 100%
Plus
appreciate.
you got out of your comfort zone and you took an art class in college.
I did take an art class in college. It was pretty difficult, but I did get out of my comfort zone and did it. Yes. Expanded my horizons.
Well, I'm glad you brought up Brad's art. Brad, tell us about what kind of art you make now.
Well, I'm basically a painter. I work in acrylic paints on canvas. I've been basically an abstract artist from the time that I entered college. And I don't know if you know your art history at all, but abstract expressionism was really big in the 50s and early 60s before pop art kind of came in. And it was like non-objective. You didn't see any particular subject. It was just the language of art. It was line, shape, color, space, texture, and that sort of thing. And so I gravitated to that right away. And my graduate work at University of Wisconsin was in the 60s, and abstract expressionism had given way to pop art and also hard edge painting, where abstract expressionism, the hand of the artist was very obvious. With hard edge painting, it was masking tape, straight lines. It looked very mechanical, very geometric. And so today I kind of combine those two, a feeling of gesture, of surface, of texture, along with straight lines, crisp edges in my paintings. Recently, I would say a couple years ago, I was in New York to an art, a big art festival, and we were with an art group from Tucson, and we had finished looking at all the art, but we were waiting to get our bus to go back to our motel. And I started looking at people at this art fair, and of course, a lot of them were arty, they had the arty dress on and everything.
Sure.
And I started looking at shoes, especially for women. Now, you being a woman, I imagine you have more than 2 pairs of shoes, right?
Of course.
Of course. And so I started looking at different styles of shoes and how people were standing, the different kind of poses they were in, and their dress matching the shoes, whatever. So I've got into doing some realistic paintings of just basically shoes, and maybe up to your thighs. Yeah. And so I've done probably 40 of those now, and they're small paintings. They're only 14 inches by 11. And they're a lot of fun. And Carrie has some of them hanging in her house.
I see him
Yeah,
behind you right there.
can I just butt in here for a second?
Please.
Yeah.
Here is my dad's self-portrait. I have it hanging in my house. This is what he paints in.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my painting shows.
Yep. And this is another one. I used to be a shoe buyer for Nordstrom, women's shoe
Oh.
buyer. So I just love this one with the high heels. I mean, he is amazing. And growing up with him, again, you appreciate how difficult art is. Like whether it's abstract, whether it's, you're painting shoes, it is so hard. And if you have a talent, if you can, make anything pop on a canvas.
Well, there's a lot of questions I want to ask, but I'm going to take a small one, which might not be small.
Yeah, don't make them hard, okay?
No. So we have a few special correspondents on our KHOP88, and Doug Robertson is our arts special correspondent who did not take your class, but he's here. And one of his questions, Brad, is what is your favorite paint brand? Doug mostly uses golden.
Oh yeah, that's expensive, golden. But I'll tell you what, I'm gonna. I should not tell too many people this, but I go to Home Depot, and when people want these little sample jars, you know, they're like
Sure.
$3 or something,
Yeah.
and they're mixing up the colors, and if they make a mistake or something, they put it in a rack that says "Oops," and they sell them for 50 cents. So here, I'm gonna get the one and show you.
Show us. You use Oops paint.
Yeah. So
This is fantastic.
Yes.
this is a color sample Dynasty, and it's, oh, I'm going to show you here. Color
Okay.
sample from Home Depot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's an off-white color,
Mhm.
and this little thing here is 50 cents. Okay, wait a minute now.
Okay.
And so here's a tube of golden,
Okay.
and that tube is probably, it's only 2 ounces. That's probably $9.
Yeah.
Doug.
Yeah, 50
Well, that's-
cents.
Good to know. And Doug has one more question for you for now, which is, Brad, did you like Mel Jacobson's paintings?
Did I like his paintings? How can I be political about this?
You can try.
Well, hey, Mel tried paintings in college. We talked about it, and he thought, well, painting was a struggle. It's hard, you know. It's hard to the audience for painting to
Well, there's a lot.
sell paintings is very small. It's a limited, you know. Especially he was doing abstract stuff also, and so of course then he said, well, I'm going to go into ceramics and make pots. People will buy pots, you know. They understand that. They might understand my paintings. So we had some discussions about that. He did have a real flair for doing stuff very spontaneously, and they looked fresh. I will say that. Yes.
Thank
That
you.
leads to a question I've been thinking of. People have talked about the art department when we were at Hopkins in '88 were, of course, you and Mel and also Vern. And that was quite a team. And you talk about to what degree the three of you worked together as a team, and how did you sort of form an art department, I guess, in the way that each of you wanted to be teaching art?
You know, we really didn't work as a team. We worked as individuals. I mean, that might be part of the artist kind of mentality or whatever. You know, Mel did his thing, Vern did his thing, I did my thing, and we all had different philosophies. I kind of told you about my philosophy, and it seemed to work. I mean, we had a lot of kids in the art department, and they'd gravitate to one of us, you know, for whatever reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's
I
so
remember
interesting.
Vern as a teaching printmaking, which I was fascinated by. He would come into
Yeah.
elementary schools and teach us printmaking, and I thought that was just fantastic.
He was a great printmaker. He was just fantastic. Yeah, he was into mythology a lot, which, you know, it goes over my head, mythology. I'm not into that at all. And he was really good at that. Yeah, absolutely.
So, Brad, I never took art classes because I took other academics, but everyone's saying everyone feels very positively about their time in the art department. Did you ever leave the art department? Weren't you the cross-country ski coach?
Well, that's a good question, Marnie. Well, being a cross-country ski coach, yes, that's an extracurricular thing, you know. But did I leave the art department?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
What did you do?
Well, there was declining enrollment.
Okay.
I was the low person on the totem pole in terms of seniority, because I came from you know, Golden Valley, and the teachers that were, the art teachers that were in the Hopkins district were older than I was. They had more seniority.
Oh.
And so when we had declining enrollment and the numbers in the art department dropped, I didn't have a full schedule to have 5 classes. And I have a Phi Ed minor. And so I went and taught Phi Ed. I taught required 10th grade co-ed Phi Ed.
Maybe you were my PE teacher.
You would have remembered me. You would have remembered me if I was, because I was a bitch. I came to, hey, my football team is the Green Bay Packers, and I lived and died for Vince Lombardi, and he was a taskmaster. And so here I am teaching Phi Ed. I put it on my credentials. I never wanted to teach Phi Ed. Okay. I went into Phi Ed because I was interested in coaching.
Okay.
Okay. So here I am in Phi Ed, required 10th grade co-ed Phi Ed. And so I said, okay, now we're going to get up and we're going to do some stretching and calisthenics, and we're going to run around the gym a few times. And the students look at me, where are you from? Neptune or Pluto? Where are you from? We don't do that. Just give us the ball. I mean, it was so, so I was a taskmaster, and like playing basketball, co-ed, girls, boys, and the boys, there were always hot shots. There were always 5 or 6 boys that wanted to dominate everything. And I had said, no, you can't. You cannot shoot the ball until you pass the ball to a girl twice before you can shoot. So I had to set up rules like that.
I'm having some flashbacks. I think you might have been my PE teacher, but anyhow, Jason, go for the sports.
It was tough, but I did coach girls Nordic skiing.
Okay.
I would coach for 10 years, and I'm very proud to say that we won the state championship in 1993. Wow. Yeah, it was, wow. It was, wow was right. Yeah.
You had some solid skiers there, Dad. You coached them well. They put their heart out on the course.
The thing was about our team, we didn't have a star or 2 stars. A lot of teams, they have that one good, really good athlete, or they have 2. We had maybe 5 that were outstanding, and they could change places. They were the first. Next meet, the other girl was the first skier in, and so we had a team. It was really a team effort, and that brought us to the state and won the championship in '93. Yeah.
And Brad, when did you first start Nordic skiing?
Oh, that's a good question.
Thanks.
Well, as a family, we skied cross-country skiing, and we were living in Plymouth. And I think Carrie was maybe, what were you, Carrie? 3 years old, maybe. 2 daughters. The other one was 5 years old. And we'd ski across Medicine Lake to French Park and ski back. And halfway across, Carrie just dropped down and didn't want to go any further. And I looked at her mother. I said, I'm really disappointed she couldn't make it all the way, because she was my boy athlete, really. I wanted a boy, for and I got this daughter, but she was an athlete. So anyway, she goes on to Armstrong High School, and she's on the ski team. And one day she comes home and says, Dad, you won't believe this new technique called skate skiing. It's so fast, you're going to love it. I said, oh, really? Well, you're going to have to teach me this. So she did. She taught me how to skate ski, and I loved it from day one. And I went on and I competed myself in Nordic skiing.
Well, one of your friends, Monica, is here, Brad and Carrie, And she just commented that the two of you used to run marathons together. Is that true?
Carrie and I ran a few marathons. Yes, we did. A memorable one was New York
wow.
Marathon. And this was before cell phones, but remember those little those little cardboard throwaway phones?
Sure.
Well, I was carrying one of those, and we were running together, and we'd stop and we'd take pictures along the way with that throwaway camera. And we just stuck together and I mean, man, I'm running a marathon with my daughter. It was so exciting. Yeah, we did. And we ran.
I have to jump in.
Please.
Sorry. I would say there were two other marathons that were just as memorable, if not even more memorable. I would say Boston Marathon, which was amazing to experience with my dad.
You ran the great ones.
My dad has broken 3 hours in a marathon, so don't let him kid you. He was very fast, but he trained a lot. And then we also did a marathon in Medoc, France.
Oh.
And so we dressed up in costume, right, Dad? We dressed up in costume because that was what you did for this marathon. And then at the water stops, they were wine stops. So it was a party the whole way. And again, we ran with disposable cameras because that's all we had, and took pictures and documented the event. So Monica, great question.
But what was your cost? Did you matching costumes?
Well, my costume, you'll love this. You'll love this. Marnie, my costume was a hula girl. So the grass skirt, and then I had a bra up here.
Yes.
I had a bra, but my bra was a see-through. You put water in it, and you had a little fish that would be swimming around in the water in this bra. And so I thought, well, I got to try this out. I put water in the bra, and the little fish were swimming around. And I started running. I said, oh my God, it was going up and down. I said, I can't do this. I can't do this. I drained the fish, and I drained the water, and the fish died. But I ran the race without the water in the bra.
Okay, wait, they were real fish?
No, they were plastic. Yeah.
Okay, and Carrie, what was your costume?
I was the princess, and my mother, who's also very talented, made me my princess skirt.
Okay.
What an amazing, so you flew over to France to run a marathon in costume. That's a pretty amazing adventure.
No, Jason. We flew over to France to drink a lot of wine, and we happened to run a marathon.
That makes sense. That makes more sense.
Jason, it was a tour out of Boston. And so we went to a lot of these chateaus, and the winery, they did the wine and everything. We had wine tastings. We had great French food and everything. And then ultimately we had to run this marathon. But I would say 90% of the people were dressed in a costume. And these crazy French people, they had these floats. The float was just a surface, a platform. And they had handles on each end of the platform. And they had one of their runners sitting up on the platform like a float, here I am, blah, blah, wave at me. And one runner on each corner running with these guys the whole marathon. Of course, they would change places, but
sure,
that was bizarre. It was bizarre.
I get
okay. There's a lot going on in this amazing conversation. Okay, so you left the art department. You were in the PE department. Was there anything else at Hopkins High that you participated in, or anything else?
Was there anything else I participated in Hopkins other than the art department? I had to spend some time in PE for a couple of years. I was department chair for a while, so I went to department meetings.
I'll be more specific. Brad, do you remember the great tennis ball fight?
I'll tell you what, I did not get out into greater Hopkins environment too much. I pretty much stayed in the art room. I even ate my lunch at my desk. So I didn't get out to see all the action going on out, in the mall
Yes,
area. So
but-
I missed it. I missed it. I'm sorry I missed it.
But do you remember it?
I do not.
That's okay. And there's one other mystery of Hawkins High that I've been investigating for the past 2 years. Were you aware there was a greased pig running around the school? Do you have any memory of a greased pig?
I do not.
Okay,
I do not.
just
This is all
checking.
good. This is
Thank
all
you.
good. What was I gonna, I just wanted to revisit cross-country skiing for a bit,
Please.
because I want to get your thoughts on coaching alongside another strong personality of Pat Lannon. But I investigated today, I looked up cross-country skiing champions from the state of Minnesota, because I wanted to figure out what year the girls won and if anybody from the boys side won. Interestingly enough, like the state boys cross-country skiing champion in like 1964 and 1965, both years out of Duluth East High School, was a young man named Norm Craigseth. Remember Norm Craigs?
Of course,
No.
he was a he was the girls cross country coach for a number of years before I came on the scene.
And an NFL official.
NFL official, yes.
And a cigarette smoker, as I
Oh.
remember.
Oh yeah, he'd sit in the FIAD office one after another.
I just thought, like, that just blew me away. Like, wow, Norman Craigseth, like back-to-back state cross-country skiing champion. Never would have put him there, but yeah.
Yeah, I would not have either. I didn't know that. So that's interesting that you know that.
So how was coaching with Pat Lannon? He's another big figure from a lot of
Yeah, he's an icon. I mean, what a wonderful person he is as a person, and had a great time coaching with him. I'm the new kid on the block. He's the master coach and everything. And he said to me, he said, "Brad, you're the girls' coach. I'm the boys' coach. You do what you have to do." Yeah, yeah. And if you need any help, let me know. But I'm not going to interfere with you. You're the girls' coach. I'm the boys' coach. And we went our own ways.
Mm.
He did his thing. I did my thing with the team. But we competed together too, in ski races. And he was, oh man, he won many ski races for his age group.
Yeah.
And I remember one particular time up in Mora, the Vassalopet, we're skiing side by side. We turned our last corner up on the main street, and we're skiing to the finish line, and we're going neck and neck, all out. Of course, Lannon, I mean, he was so competitive. You're not going to beat him, And I said the same thing. You're not going to beat me, Pat. And we're going like crazy. And I look at the finish line. It's a little chute. You had to go into this little chute, one skier at a time. I said, holy schmoly, if one of us is going to crash, we can't both make it through that narrow space. I let him win. He won't admit that, but I let him win. Well, I wasn't going to crash, and I didn't want him to crash. It was
great.
Very memorable.
I was a skier for a season, and part of the reason why I think I did join the skiing team is because the boys and girls practiced together. It was one of those rare sports where you could hang out with girls after school.
Well, that's a nice idea, yeah.
Yeah.
But when I came on the scene, we split.
Okay.
We practiced separate from the boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a comment from one of your homeroom students with a memory.
What?
A student that had you as their homeroom teacher.
Well, yeah, I wasn't a very good homeroom teacher.
Well, he disagrees. So Secretary of State Steve Simon is here. And he says, Brad was my homeroom teacher for 3 years, along with others whose last names started with S. He was so encouraging, a soothing presence for us, plus donuts on Fridays.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Amazing. Well, I didn't furnish the donuts on Fridays. It was, here, sign up if you want to be part of the donut team. And so people would sign up, and every Friday somebody else would bring donuts, you know. So I may have started it one Friday, but then I said, well, you know, if you want this Friday, sign up. You're next week. Yeah. Wow. That's awfully nice words for sure. Homeroom. Wow. It was.
Yeah, I can't remember who my homeroom teacher was at all.
Yeah, but homeroom was, I thought it was a waste of time myself.
It was a sort of a waste of time, but the funny thing about it, Brad, is that we kept the same teacher for all 3 years, and so many people have no memory of who it was. I'm like, we were there every day for 3 years in high school. And
I know it's in the library.
Yeah, yeah.
So the only other question that we have that I wonder if you remember particular students. There's a guy named Ned Mansfield who was in our class who has gone on, I think, to be a professional artist as well, and was known as a very artistic kid. Doug is asking whether you remember an art installation he did, but did Ned stick out, or were there other students of yours that stuck out over the years?
I'm not familiar with that name. No, I'm not. I'm very fortunate that I do have a number of students that have gone on and pursued art. Yeah, I have a number of them. I'm not going to mention names because I'm going to forget somebody, but
good idea.
Yeah, but I am in contact with a number of them too. They keep coming back to me. I had one student, I'll just tell the story. I mean, I'm really close to this student now, and he's the most fantastic student I've ever had. He graduated from Hopkins High School, and I can't tell you what year, because all the years in 37 years, they all blend together. But he went to school up in Alaska, and he came back to Minneapolis, and he was working construction. He was very good at carpentry, and he wanted to get back into his art. And he called me, and he asked me if I would come over and critique some of the work he was doing. And I did. And it was, you know, I critiqued. I said what I thought he was good at, what he might do to improve, whatever. And we became very, very close. And today, I mean, I don't go back to Minneapolis without meeting this student and going out for breakfast and talking, getting caught up. I was also the superintendent of the Minnesota State Fair Fine Arts Division.
Oh,
yeah, I did that. And this student, I hired students to help guard the exhibit during the fair, walking around and guarding and everything. And when I left, he took over my position. Yeah, and doing a fabulous job. Fabulous job.
That's I was just going to say that's a really cool sideline working at the fair, especially in the art building. That's fantastic.
Yeah, it was an interesting job. I hired employees. I hired the judges to jury the works. I hung all the work. I mean, I curated where all the work should be, what should be next to what, and then, you know, I had a crew to help hang it. It was a big undertaking. It was very rewarding, though. Very rewarding.
Jason, Carrie, go
ahead, Carrie.
Oh, I was just going to say, to expound upon like his jobs that he's done in the art field. When he retired, MCAD pulled his arm and twisted it for him to go to work at MCAD, Minneapolis College of Art and Design. So he did that for a couple of years as well. He's been humble. He's touched a lot of people.
This is why you're here, Carrie. This is great.
Yeah.
Jason.
I know how I got her in here anyway.
It's magic.
Yeah, it's magic.
Jason, don't you think we should ask Brad about the thing on the wall? Like, what was it?
Oh,
The
Yeah, do
art
you-
in the cafeteria.
yeah. Do you remember the pop art installation in the cafeteria at Hopkins High School?
I
Jack
I
loves Nancy, right? I forget what it was called.
I think
Jack.
it's Jack Loves Nancy.
Yeah. Do you remember this, Fred?
Yeah, it was in the cafeteria,
Yeah.
hanging on the wall. Yeah, I kind of remember it. Yeah.
It's funny, we started this show by trying some trivia the first couple weeks, and that was like one of the first trivia questions that I came up with, and there are people who have no memory of it at all. And I thought, wow, it was this huge installation on the wall of our cafeteria. It was
Well,
so
do
unique.
you remember how it came about?
No.
I don't
No,
either.
that's what we're asking.
I don't either.
Oh,
don't
you don't know.
I
wish
really
could
tried to
help.
Google it to see, and there's no record of it
No.
on the internet.
No,
Free
no.
internet.
Yeah.
Funny.
But we did try to get art out in the hallways and stuff, and the school also purchased some works from students.
Oh,
We had a end of the school year art show, and the school every year purchased one or two works for their permanent collection. So they were hanging around different areas in the school. I don't know if you remember that.
that's great that they actually paid money for it. That's pretty
They
cool.
did. They gave the students some money. Yeah.
Huh.
Cool.
Well, we're so grateful that you could both join us tonight.
Yes.
We always go through this ceremony where I ask Marnie to tell us who's coming up on the show. And one of them is a friend of yours, Carrie. So, well,
Yes. Well, I'm ready. Next week, Monica Gillen will be coming on the show. Carrie and Brad, I hope you can join us again. November 30th, I'm working on some special guests. You'll just have to wait and see. December 7th, Dr. Kim Cappings. December 14th, the band.
Oh
It
yeah.
is going to be amazing. December 28th, Deborah Hans Campbell. And our 82nd episode on January 4th, entering our third year of KHOP88, Lee Zwart kicks it off.
Whoa. All right. Okay. Fantastic. Thank you both so much again. Hope you both Brad, you're traveling up to Minnesota, so you're gathering for Thanksgiving, I assume.
Well, Friday, we're going up on Friday, and my lovely wife is turning 80 on Sunday. So I had to do something special for her, of course. But I thought, what am I going to do? I said, well, I turned it on to the two daughters. So they planned an event for Mom. We're gonna do it on Saturday. And on Sunday is the big football game. I'm a big Green Bay Packer fan. My whole
Right.
family is, and we're playing the Vikings
Yes.
at Minnesota. So we're going to enjoy that game, and they're going to bring a win home for my wife, that'll be her 80th birthday. Can you believe it? I'm married to a woman who's 80 years old. If she heard me say that, she'd be really mad at me. But it wouldn't be the first time.
Dad, let me just
What?
remind you, you're not too far behind her.
We're going to Greek Day.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, I hope you all have a great time. And
Oh, this has been fun. You guys had some great questions, and I hope I answered them to your liking.
No, it was fantastic getting to know a lot of this stuff about you, Brad. It was really great.
Yeah.
And I know we've had a lot of students streaming through here on Facebook. So
And
they all
thank you,
enjoyed it.
Carrie.
Yes,
for
thank you
being
very much.
Go Royals. My son graduated from Hopkins, and my daughter's Royal right now. So go
That's
Royals.
great. Go Royals, right?
Okay, see you next week, guys.
Take
Peace
care,
out.
everybody.
Bye.
Hey, just keep me in the loop, okay?
We'll let
Oh,
you know.
yes, Brad, we know where you are.
Right.
Adios,
coming.
everyone. Be safe.
Be
Tell me
safe.
what's coming up. Thank you so much. This is
Bye.
a lot of fun.